Welcome to the three-part connection with Tommy. This video is on Raw Superstars and some news, along with some movie news with WWE stars and some former WWE stars. There's the latest teaser for the ECW documentary made by filmmakers John Filipavich and Kevin Kiernan. Can be viewed at YouTube. There's this first link here, up here. Hold it up. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. John and Kevin also have launched a Kickstarter program with the goal of raising $23,200 to help fund the project, and they are up over $6,000 at the present check. And for more details on the Kickstarter project, you can visit Kickstarter.com /projects, and that's also on that first link as well. Get the first line and then the second line. First line, second line. Okay, WWE wrestler, the Great Khali, real name Dalip Singh Rana, turned 40 years old. August the 27th, 1972, he was born. Khali recently underwent brain surgery to remove a tumor on his pituitary gland on July 26th. The surgery was deemed a success, and his recovery time was listed as roughly 3 months. His surgery was performed by WWE Medical Director Joseph Maroon. WWE star The Miz appeared in studios earlier today on Fox 6 Wake Up Morning Show in Milwaukee to promote tonight's Raw show. Then there was a Miz look-alike show showing up, and the Miz made fun of him during the video. And you can view the video at fox6now.com, and this is the second link right here. The second link right there, second square. Okay. Rey Mysterio. I'm going to go back a little bit. I haven't seen the video yet, but if you go to Teleperformance, where I work at, you can also see a Miz lookalike there as well. He was my first trainer on the Sprint account up at Teleperformance. And now Rey Mysterio has been removed from the advertising talent lineup on the WWE website page. From Raw, he was previously listed on the talent lineup on the arena advertising, but it's possible that he will miss the show because of a concussion that he suffered last week at the pay-per-view. And thanks to .NET reader Scotty Myers for passing along those notes. And they did comment on that he will be action for a couple of weeks on Raw tonight. The advertised dark main event for tonight's WWE Raw show is John Cena versus Big Show in a no disqualification match. It's worth noting that John Laurinaitis is no longer advertised for any dark matches, as he has finished his executive job at WWE headquarters. I believe his last day was August the 17th. WWE CEO owner Vincent Kennedy McMahon turned 67 years old. He was born on August the 24th. 1945, so happy birthday, Vince, and also Great Khali. Vince is another year older, yet he stated in an interview with Bloomberg Enterprise back in June 2011 that he intends to die in the chair. In other words, he has no retire date. Other birthdays is the Hall of Famer Sergeant Slaughter, aka real name Robert Ramos. Turned 64 years old, born August 27, 1948. He was inducted to the WWE Hall of Fame March 13, 2004, and continues to work on a WWE Legends contract. Female pro wrestler, yes, she still wrestles pro level. Jazz, aka real name Carleen Begnud, turned 39 years old. She was born August 27, 1973. The late Crash Holly, real name Mike Lockwood, would have turned 41 on Saturday, He was born August 25th, 1971. He died on November 6th, 2003 at the age of 32 from what was ruled as a suicide. If I'm not mistaken, I don't know for sure, but if I'm not mistaken, somebody please look that up. Did he die with throwing up in bed? When he woke up in a hotel? Or actually, he died in a hotel. But I'm not too sure. Don't hold me to that. Retired pro wrestler star Ivan Koloff, aka real name Oriol Perez, turned 70 years old on Saturday. He was born August 25th, 1942. Last check, he has become an ordained minister. Okay, former TNA wrestler David Young, aka David Williams, real name, turned 40 years old on Saturday. He was born August 25th of 1972. At last check, he was still working on the indie scene. Former TNA wrestler Petey Williams turned 31 years old on Sunday. He was born August 26, 1981. Boy, do I feel that's 81 was when my brother graduated. No, 81? No, 71. He was born in 71. Okay. Anyway, the late Bobby Duncan Jr. would have turned 47 on Sunday. He was born August 26, 1965. He died January 24th, 2000 due to an accidental overdose of prescription painkillers. The following wrestlers are listed for the 8:30 p.m. Central Time airing of the UWF on ESPN Classic. That was earlier tonight during Raw. During the second hour of Raw. Dr. Death Steve Williams was in action. Cowboy Bob Orton Jr. and Cactus Jack was also in action. First edition of Saturday Morning Slam aired this past Saturday on the CW Network, and it airs at 10 a.m. The first show featured Kofi Kingston versus, I believe it was Kofi Kingston versus Alex Riley. Commentary team is Josh Matthews and Santino Marella. No, that can't be right. Kofi Kingston face off somebody else, and Alex Riley face off somebody else. Okay, here we go. The show may also feature, did feature for I don't know if it's the first week or second week. They did 2 weeks in a row tapings. Alex Riley faced off against Jinder Mahal and defeated Jinder Mahal. As both matches were taped on August the 14th, the show was apparently aired in some markets. And .NET reader Jerry Roth said that he saw the show and noted that Santino was introduced as a U.S. champion. So that's old news. WWE star Rey Mysterio spoke with PJStar.com, and I got the full link right here as well, and discussed the concussion he suffered at the pay-per-view. And he's quoted by saying, I did an impact test on Monday, that's being today, in Fresno, California, and the results were not too good, Mysterio said. Quote, there will be an impact test later, that's Thursday, later this week, and first thing tomorrow, we're going on that. WWE is strict on its wellness policy right now. Mysterio was asked whether he's considering retirement. He says, no, not at all, Mysterio said. After this surgery, it's kind of set me back almost a year trying to get my knee back into shape, and I recover from that. I have my limitations as far as what I can do in the ring, but I manage to be creative with my style. I think that is what keeps me still able to perform for my fans. As long as I keep doing that, I'm good to go. And you can read the full story at this link. I guess so it's way down here, on the very bottom. So I missed some news. Out of whack. Okay. Okay, the third link is published photos of braodus clay in a movie. And that's at dreadcentral.com. That's this link right here. And whenever I come up to it, up to the news, it should be coming up next. And the movie is No One Lives is the name of it. And if you go to my Facebook page, you can see a poster on it. Okay, back to Rey Mysterio. He noted that his surgically repaired knee is where it needs to be at right now. He is not expected to work the weekend house shows due to the concussion. WWE announced that he won't attend, though he didn't completely rule out during the interview. Mysterio also spoke about what he has left to accomplish in wrestling, debuting at the age of 14, working in ECW and the WCW Cruiserweight division and more. And again, you can listen to the news at the article at the website that I just showed you. Booker T announced on Twitter tonight that Randy Orton will face Dolph Ziggler this Friday on SmackDown. The announcement is made as the main event for SmackDown, which was acknowledged by WWE announcer Michael Coleslaw on Raw. And it reads, "Attention, breaking news. This Friday on SmackDown, heel Ziggler," that's on these Twitter names, "will face at Randy Orton in the main event." Now can you dig that? Question mark. Okay, Hall of Famer Gerald Briscoe appears for Bang Wrestling Company on Saturday, September 15th in Ocala, California. Unknown what website that is. Okay. And the individual who portrayed Harold in the anger management skits with Daniel Bryan and Kane on Raw was California-based independent wrestler Scorpio Sky. He recently competed in TNA wrestling as Mason Andrews. This dude looked old to me, so I don't know. The vignette was filmed in Los Angeles, California, and will continue to air for 1 or 2 more weeks on Raw. Ric Flair is reportedly interested in getting a role in the Hangover 3 movie. Hall of Famer Dusty Rhodes has been added to the NXT house show on September 14th from the Fenn Center in Fort Pierce, Florida. Cody Rhodes will also be appearing also, so father and son will be there. Now, question is, NXT is getting house shows? Wow. It's like they're branching off into another company of their own. I thought they was only doing it at the university. Okay, here's the braodus clay stuff. Info. dreadcentral.com has published photos of WWE Studios' upcoming film, No One Lives, starring WWE superstar braodus clay, the Funkasaurus. The synopsis of the film, which premieres next month at the Toronto International Film Festival, reads, "A ruthless criminal gang takes a young couple hostage and goes to ground in an abandoned house in the middle of nowhere. When the captive girl is killed, the tables are unexpectedly turned. The gang finds itself outsmarted by an urbane and seasoned killer determined to ensure that no one lives." No One Lives is written by David Cohen and directed by Ryuhei Kitamura. It's a smart and original horror movie with it's a killer in the grip of a dark and twisted love affair. And what everybody's been wanting to know, superstar spoilers for this week. Jimmy and Jey Uso went up against Epico and Primo again. Alex Riley went up against Jinder Mahal, or Mahal, how you pronounce his name. And the results, Primo and Epico defeated the Usos. And Jinder Mahal breaks the winning streak of A-Rai with the camel clutch. It's still out of the last 15, he's only lost 2 matches out of the last 14, 15 matches. And there was no pre-taping dark matches before Raw. After all, it is over 3 hours long. And some other news, former WWE superstar Chris Masters is advertised to appear at Traditional Championship Wrestling Saturday, September 15th, taping in Memphis, Tennessee at Cook Convention Center under the name of Chris Adonis. So, there's your spoiler for TNA. He's not going to make his debut until after that, probably. Jerry the King Lawler makes his way to the ring to start off Raw and announces from the announce booth, and he needed to get something off his chest. Lawler recalled his moment he made on Raw 1000 and decided last week that out of respect for the WWE Championship, he should apologize for it. He said he did that last week and was rewarded with a kick to the back of the head. Lawler said he wants an apology this week from Punk. Lawler looked to the entrance as the fans chanted for Punk. Punk's music eventually hit and the crowd popped. Punk made his way to the ring. Punk wondered why Lawler wanted an apology for Punk doing his job. Punk said he was justified in attacking The Rock for disrespecting him, and he was justified in attacking Lawler for slandering the fans' beloved champion. This was met with a mixture of cheers and boos. Punk then apologized, but he said he apologized that all it took to getting into the Hall of Fame was to have the sort of career that Jerry Lawler had. Never to win a championship, never to win the big one, and even lose to Michael Coleslaw at WrestleMania. Punk mocked Lawler's accomplishments and shortcomings, like I just said, and then he said he was sorry for the man Lawler had become. Then Punk called Lawler out for looking pissed and asked if he wanted to fight. Punk said Lawler is just a commentator, whereas he is the best in the world, and he would embarrass Lawler. Lawler said he came out for an apology, not a fight. Punk came back and says he may not be asking for a fight, but he can see it in Lawler's eyes, and that he wants one. Punk said he would have no problem fighting Lawler, and it becomes the main event of the night. And later on the show, Punk said at the end of the night, Lawler would leave embarrassed, either because Punk beat the crap out of him or just because he put his tail between his legs and kept quiet. Punk walked up the ramp and he made his exit to the stage. Lawler responded on the microphone that he would think about it. A very effective open segment. It kind of left on a low note with Lawler's response and his music, but it was good enough to forgive it. I like the work of the work Punk is doing as a heel thus far, and after the main event, full heel turn. But I can't help but get the feeling that there wouldn't be as many cheers if WWE and Punk didn't take the slow burn route and actually gave him a hard turn. Commercial break, and after commercial break, Jack Swagger stood in the ring as Michael Coleslaw read some statistics about Swagger's losing streak. Ryback's music hit, and with a slight update. So we get Ryback versus Swagger. Ryback wasted no time in dropping Swagger with a clothesline. He worked some power offense briefly, but got Swagger began to fight back. Swagger's hook spot didn't last long. However, Ryback went right back on offense. A Goldberg chant started, so Ryback started a Feed Me More chant to counter it, to silence the Goldberg chants. That was clever. And Ryback put Swagger away with his finisher, with his Fisherman Muscle Buster. kind of move. It kind of looks like John Cena's attitude adjustment and then just fall away. And the match took 2 minutes and 9 seconds. After the match, Swagger was fuming, and a few fans gave him their sympathy, saying he was sitting on his ass at the ring rail. Not the around the guardrails, I should say. Coleslaw hypes Triple H's live appearance, and they stated that he's not there yet, and he may be hanging up his boots. And then Coleslaw tried to get an answer from Lawler and about facing CM Punk, and Lawler said he's still thinking about it. Commercial break. Nothing special on that. The only thing really of note there was how much the announcers discussed Swagger's losing streak. Ryback needs to have a real feud sooner or later, or at least he's actually facing some real wrestlers. Match number 2 is your Divas match of the night. Layla versus Natalya. Miss Piggy comes out, Guerrero, and says that she's demanding they hurry things up and quickly end their match because she had an important announcement to make. Yep, that makes this feel important. As she stands up on the ring steps the whole entire match. Layla danced in the ring to no reaction and shoved her butt in Natalya's face. Natalya became incensed by this and went on her offense. Natalya went for the sharpshooter, but got kicked off. Powered out. Layla kicked Natalya in the head a few moments later to pick up the win. And that match took 2 minutes 44 seconds. Layla defeated Natalya. And finally, the excuse me chance from Vicky to get them over with. As soon as the match was done, Vicky bragged about Dolph Ziggler retiring Chris Jericho last week, and she called AJ's putting Dolph's contract on the line unfair and called for the board of directors to remove that mentally deranged child from her position of power and place her in a spot. And them's fighting words. Well, sure enough, AJ skips to the ring and slapped the taste out of Vicky's mouth, and the two brawled on the mat for a moment, and AJ says nothing. And Vicky got away and ran for the hills up the rampway. AJ had a sadistic smile on her face, just as normal. Okay, Coleslaw hyped the first of Triple H's momentous moments. Footage of Triple H's various DX segments aired. Commercial break. Not really sure what the point of was that, but it sure made the Divas feel more worthless than usual by focusing entirely on Vicky. AJ was awesome, and it was nice to see a bit of her range and buried her by her GM role. Footage aired of Daniel Bryan attending the group therapy. A kid with a goat face walks in. He's wearing a mask. Kind of looks like, what do you call it? Didn't even look like a goat to begin with. Kind of looked like the Hannibal Lecter mask. Well, turned out to be so-called the doctor's son. He was doing a play called Noah's Ark. And Daniel started losing his mind on that. Turned out it's the therapist's kid, and didn't make any sense there. And Daniel Bryan went back to the group and fumed. Sat down. Coleslaw brought up a tweet from CM Punk, and he tried to prod further for Lawler's decision. Lawler got a live mic, stood on the announce table, and read through the nobody's down in Tennessee that he has beat in the past, in the back in the day. Goes through the list, and that's not other than a few of the old guys. such as Harley Race. He didn't go into anybody else, but he has defeated Ric Flair, I believe, and also he has a face-off against the Von Erichs. I'll go with a few of the Von Erichs. I know for sure it was Kerry and also Kevin. Lawler said you don't get into the Hall of Fame in the WWE unless you stand up for what is yours. He said he knows he's not the best in the world, but neither is Punk. He said he will fight Punk tonight as they go to commercial. This sort of thing is where Jerry Lawler signs. And they get you get the ho-hum Jerry chants in the crowd. He's been a ho-hum commentator since JR left the booth and took Lawler's interest with him. But Lawler really seemed to get into the working with young heels. I hope WWE has a plan to help get Punk over as a heel tonight and erase some of that gray area that Punk's been residing in since he attacked The Rock. Well, then we get John Cena's music playing as Jerry Lawler has left the announcer's table and headed to the back to get ready for his match for the main event. Well, John Cena made his entrance, and completely with wisecrack that I can never seem to understand. The Miz quickly followed. So we got John Cena versus Miz in a non-title Intercontinental match. John Cena took control early, and the show cut to commercial about a minute into the match. And back from the break, Josh Matthews replaced Jerry Lawler on the announced team. Cena continued his dominance. Miz eventually got in some offense, but Cena made his comeback and put Miz away with attitude adjustment. The match took a total of 10 minutes, 40 seconds. Coleslaw set up another Twitter vote for a match stipulation with a tweet able to choose from a tables match, a steel cage match, and a no disqualification match. I voted for a no disqualification match for Punk versus Lawler later, but they didn't win. Check the main check the main page for the final results if you'd like to know which option it was. Of course, that's on Twitter. It's been a couple of years, but I still felt like I saw too much of this match before. Neither man had added diddly squat to their repertoire since then, so that likely has a lot to do with it. Speaking of Cena and Miz, more footage of Daniel Bryan in the group therapy segment aired. Bryan wasn't interested in Harold's story. Poor Harold. Daniel Bryan complained about AJ and Kane. Bryan said he didn't see how it could get any worse. And then Kane appears as the last participant, finally showing up. Kane has done his Predator mask. This made a quick smile briefly, and then finally he removes the mask in the next segment. Moving on, Heath Slater made his entrance with the next match, and WWE aired a Slater tout about his winning streak of 1. So we got Santino Marella versus Heath Slater. Josh Matthews and Michael Cole are discussing the Marella Cobra dynamic with straight faces. Santino worked his comedy set early, but Slater quickly took control. Slater controlled the majority of the match. Marella made a late match comeback, and despite a brief distraction from Oksana, who appeared on stage wearing her tight outfit, and that got the distraction, and Slater put him away with Slater put no, okay, turned around. Slater got put away with a Cobra. Like, immediately. Turn around. Poop. Poop. Pinfall. Quick match. Alright. So Santino defeated Heath Slater in 3 minutes, 9 seconds. So Slater's winning streak ends at 1. The feeling of the show dragging during the second hour, it's beginning to set in, and we're only an hour and 20 minutes in now. It's never a good sign. And they really need to pad these shows out with solid stories rather than fillers. 3 hours of well throughout stories can still be entertaining. Filling the show with more padding that they used to use to get through 2 hours just makes viewing like a chore. Josh Matthews gave us a tech demo on the new WWE app on his iPad. Yeah, that padding. Damien Sandow cut a brief promo about the miracle of finding someone else in WWE who he can actually have an intelligent conversation with. And then he introduces Cody Rhodes, who got some cheap heat comparing the fans to braodus Clay. He threatened to target Sin Cara's mask again, and he and Damien entered the ring. And match number 5, braodus Clay and Sin Cara versus Damien Sandow and Cody Rhodes. The match was joined in progress. Cody Rhodes controlled Sin Cara, and the Hills kept him in their corner for the majority of the match. Sin Cara got a hot tag to braodus, and Sin Cara managed to take out Damien Sandow. braodus puts away Rhodes with a big running splash and wins the match. 2 minutes 31 second match. Back with the therapist asking Kane to remove his mask, the therapy session became about 100% less awesome when he obliged. Granted, Kane has a name tag on, so that helps a bit. The therapist asked Kane about his childhood, and Kane recapped his old story from the Attitude Era days. I'm not proud of it, but Kane's straight-faced mentions of fried testicles, Katie Vick, and an upper urge to attack Pete Rose had my laughing pretty hard. After everyone else left, Kane made a friend with Harold. Commercial break. Actually, Kane was about to chokeslam him and then eventually release him. Nothing more than that. Well, I may lose my internet fan card for this, but that segment had me at no surprise. It reminded of Kane and Undertaker's brief moment before No Mercy 2002. And they had another Triple H career recap video. Match number 6, R-Truth with Kofi Kingston in a suit versus Daniel Bryan. Yeah, Daniel Bryan made his way to the ring after a few minutes of little Jimmy nonsense. Daniel Bryan began to work over Truth. Truth created some separation and cut a mid-match promo to get the crowd chanting yes at Daniel Bryan. And Bryan started yelling, telling no at the people, and got in one fan's face at ringside as R-Truth slipped into the ring and won by countout. R-Truth was kind of like doing his little dance and slapping little Jimmy, and invited Daniel to do the same thing. It was like a high five or whatever. After the match, Bryan lost his control again and started yelling at somebody several times with a no chance, the Borgasms. While the crowd mocked him with another slew of yes chants. Like I said, Borgasms. Yes, no, yes, yes, oh, no. Just make a song out of it and get it over with. Daniel Bryan is doing excellent work with the phase of his character. It's always a good thing when you have a heel that the fans can wake up for and get under the skin of. It's a very rare thing that in WWE these days, Bryan may not be in the title picture at the moment, but he's easily one of the most over heels on the roster, other than the Chris Jericho, who just left again. He'll be back in April. Right around WrestleMania time, Triple H makes his entrance. He's wearing a cast on his arm, his left arm, but with otherwise in his business attire. Triple H looked to be nearly in tears as the third hour starts, and the announcers were showing announcers were shown standing with respect at ringside. Lord, they are laying it on thick and almost corny thick here. And the crowd is also standing, giving him a standing ovation. Hunter took several moments. It looked like he was almost about to burst into tears to collect himself while the fans cheered and eventually chanted his name. Triple H said, "Let's get to the chase," and then proceeded to stall for another moment. Triple H said, "Never say never," and recalled what he wanted to do with his career. He said he wanted to retire before he was forced to do so, and he started to choke up, started crying briefly. Triple H said everyone comes to a crossroad in their career when they have to ask if it's time. Triple H said it's time. He said time is the one thing you cannot fight. It will always win. He said he never wanted to be the guy that hung on too long or was just waiting for the nostalgia pop or willing to get in the ring for just a check. And that check means just a paycheck. Triple H said Brock Lesnar made him face that crossroad. "Am I done?" Triple H said. The fans chanted no, and Triple H listed all the reasons why he should stop. Triple H said he wanted to live up to his monikers and kick Lesnar's ass because that is what he has always done. That got a crowd popping. Triple H then said that's what he wanted, but he can't do it. He said he can't because he doesn't know if he can get the job done. Triple H said if he can't make that claim, then he has to answer himself his own question. The fans chanted, "You can do it! You can do it!" And Triple H quickly silenced them. Triple H thanked the fans and put over the entire locker room for putting their health and bodies on the line for the fans. Triple H said the fans got him through all the setbacks in his career. He thanked them again and then said, "Thank you for letting me play the game. We just hit I love you pop level," and that's what they got. "I love you, I love you, I love you." Triple H left the ring to a healthy ovation. He gets up to the ramp and turns around, and the fans are still chanting for him. That was good mic work from Triple H, minus a cornball closing line. The problem is that it felt like a bit of a waste. Triple H didn't need to be any more over with the fans than he already is. And they failed to answer the retirement question like they hyped all evening. Still solid work for Triple H. I simply wish it actually led to something instead of making the story tread water. Because it still left retirement. Well, they get a commercial break. Back from commercial, Dolph Ziggler comes out to Chris Jericho's music. Everybody thought Jericho was returning. Surprised that he's wearing his pink and his briefcase. Well, once you seen the briefcase, you knew it was Dolph. Funny, that was a funny segment. Ziggler bragged about retiring Jericho and claimed that the fans would never see Jericho again. You're wrong, Ziggler. Wait till WrestleMania. Dolph Ziggler and Alberto Del Rio versus Sheamus and Randy Orton was up next. Orton and Ziggler started things off. Orton got the better of Ziggler quickly, and Sheamus took out Del Rio on the outside. The show went to break. Less than a minute into the match again. Back from the break, Ziggler and Del Rio were taking the fight to Orton. Orton eventually got the hot tag, and Sheamus stormed the ring. Sheamus hit the bro kick on Ziggler to pick up the victory. That match took 8 minutes 24 seconds. Backstage, Lawler instructed John Cena to let him fight his fight in the ring tonight. Don't interfere. Cena eventually wished Lawler good luck. Commercial break. Well, the match was disappointing. Less than half of it actually aired on TV. And I really don't think Ziggler needs to be taking pins when he should be built up for his eventual world title run. Kane makes his entrance and took Josh Matthews' spot at commentating. who actually didn't say very much. And when Josh Matthews, when Kane arrived, Josh Matthews left. And because of what he did 2 weeks ago, they had to sell it. He's afraid of him. So we got match number 8. Zack Ryder versus David Otunga. Otunga dominated early going. Kane kept quiet on commentary. Ryder made his comeback and hit the Rough Rider for the pinfall victory. And that match took the triple twos. 2 minutes, 22 seconds. Deuces wild. And immediately Kane gets in the ring. Started to choke Zack Ryder and let him go. And then turned around and got Otunga instead. Choke slam Otunga. The match was a throwaway, and Kane Angle undid some of the goodwill that he earned with the hilarious therapy bit from earlier. This show has had way too many throwaway segments. And commercial break. Matthews found his courage and stood in the ring to reveal the stipulation for the main event. A steel cage was the choice. It's so convenient that they had one set up on the ceiling already. So AJ made an entrance and said and aided that Punk would defend his championship at Night of Champions against her choice, John Cena. And then Lawler was shown walking through the back. Commercial break. Getting ready for the main event. So we got CM Punk versus Jerry Lawler in steel cage. Punk insisted on Lawler getting in the first shot. And Lawler gave him one hell of a right punch. That was about the most of Lawler's dominance as Punk quickly took over and worked a noticeably more heelish style than usual. As Raw goes past the third hour, Punk went to the top rope, but Lawler shot up and swept his legs. Lawler made a beeline for the door, but Punk dragged Lawler back into the ring. Lawler began to make his comeback, and he hit his high, flying fist drop for a near fall. Punk bled from the forehead as he locked in an anaconda device, forced the tap, and held on until the referee could pull him off of Lawler. So Punk defeated Jerry Lawler in 7 minutes 23 seconds. After the match, Punk grabbed the mic and a chain from outside around the timekeeper's area, and grabbed a chain and a lock from a toolbox that was there. As he dumped the tools inside the ring or on the floor there, Punk locked Lawler and him in on the cage. Punk gave Lawler a chance to tell Punk if he is the best in the world. Lawler defiantly said hell no. So Punk tried to drill through his chest a flurry of elbows for about 10-15 times. Punk demanded Lawler to say that he was the best again. Lawler again declined. Punk continued the assault. John Cena ran out and yelled. This was a very similar segment to when Punk with Brock Lesnar and had Shawn Michaels in his finisher. Well, so this was about it for the thing. Cena ran out and yelled for the cage to raise. Finally, it raised. Punk continued assault as Cena repeated that Punk was way out of line. The cage was finally raised and Punk departed. While Cena checked on Lawler, yelled for the doctors. Punk was booed merciless as he walked away from the arena. Well, that's more like it. I wish that this moment happened several weeks earlier. But this could be what Punk finally needed to go full heel. Overall, the show was a chore just to get through it. There were some bright spots here and there, but if we cut out all the unnecessary filler they pumped the show full of, they'd have trouble getting to the 2-hour mark, let alone the marathon they expect viewers to sit through. Well, that ends my video for Monday Night Raw and Superstars results. 2 matches taping for that. Stay tuned tomorrow night for the remaining results for SmackDown, NXT if they have any more matches. Of course, the Saturday Morning Slam and the dark match to Raw and SmackDown.